Assalamu alaikum. You may be seated, brother and sister. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, to whom all praise is due, the Lord of all the worlds. And I forever thank Allah who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad for his goodness to us,
That's right.
the poor black people of America. God remembered us the same as he said to Abraham, in that day I'll go myself.
That's right.
Won't send nobody. I'll go to them my own self. And I thank him for the resurrection and giving to us a warner in the name of Messenger Elijah Muhammad, warning us of the times and of the day that we live in. I thank him for doing so. His words, his teachings that he had received from God in the person of Master Farad Muhammad shall stand forever.
That's right.
Regardless to what might happen. We might forget him, but in the next 25,000 year cycle of our history, you will find him there. And in the next one, you will find him there.
That's right.
Because we won't get lost anymore.
That's right. That's right.
We will forever remain alive, regardless to or what. As the book says, that we will be turned back to the age of 16, and there we will not see death anymore.
That's right.
Because our age will not be aged again. We will just stay at 16, and that will be a beautiful time.
Yes, sir.
I just pray, Allah, that I live to see that day.
Yes, sir.
We are not a people that is to be looked upon as a scandal or as one who has never heard of God. Because our condition here in America was to prove the gospel of Islam true. That is our cause of being in America, to prove the gospel of Islam true, that there is only one God, and his name is Allah, and he came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad.
That's right.
As it is said in the Bible, saying, my sheep know my voice, strangers will not follow. And that is a fact.
That's right.
Because out of every one of the old prophets, all of those scientists that came to people, they did not have a whole gang of people with them.
Listen.
That left out of the cities, out of the slavery, out of the condition that they was in. It was just a few.
That's right.
We see where Moses had the most of all of the people, according to his story in the Bible, that it was a lot of them. And they followed him out from Pharaoh and was delivered into a land of promise. What name that land was before Moses delivered the people, it was not told, not until Joshua took up the journey. And Moses didn't go in. He stayed off aside and told them, Joshua and Caleb, he says, I can't go over with you. I must die on this side. And he did.
That's right.
for something that he done. Therefore, we know and understand of the crowd of people that followed Moses across the sea. We know that that was not a people that actually walked on dry land through sea. We know that. That is a meanings of a people of today. A few people, not a whole lot of them, will walk on the truth, and it will be as hard as the bottom of that sea in clay after the wind has hardened it. So will the knowledge that will blow into your head will be so hard you can walk all over the seas, all over the land, everywhere that you go. That knowledge will still be hard within your head.
That's a teaspoon.
Because no one could have escaped Pharaoh and his army, although it's written in the Quran too. So we talked about that. The messenger and I talked about that one night. He says to me, if Moses was going to take the children of Israel across the Red Sea, or sea that, and deliver them on the other side, he said, who was that Moses that went into the caves of West Asia and raised up those people?
Yes. Right. Right.
Who was he? Yes. What Moses was that? You got two there. So he says, the question asked, why did Musa, which means Moses, have a hard time to civilize the devil 2000 BC? Why? Well, now, if that Moses was there civilizing the people 2000 BC, and that was about the same time that Moses was supposed to be taking the children of Israel across the sea from being slaves under the king Pharaoh, somebody is lying.
That's right.
Excuse the flat way of saying it, but that's a fact.
That's right.
Somebody is telling a falsehood. Because you just can't take one man and place him at the same place at the same time.
That's right.
At two places. Now, if we ourselves would look at the condition that we are in, we will know that Moses that was crossing the sea was the messenger, taking us out of an ignorant state. And if we look at the Moses that was in Europe civilizing the devil, he was a sign also of this present Moses, Messenger Elijah Muhammad, civilizing us.
That's right.
So it all points to one man. One of it is truth, and one part is falsehood. Although it speaks it. But who wrote it? Who could write such a thing of these people going across the Red Sea? Now it's in the Quran too that that Moses freed them from this man Pharaoh. It's written in there too, but it's in a parable form. Master Farad Muhammad says that Moses that freed people, he was in Europe and not coming before a king to deliver people and putting those kind of plagues on the people. He don't just continue to put plagues on a devil, and he have already sent his warner there to free them. He don't continue to just put plagues on them. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. He don't do that.
That's right.
That is what our people think. the first time that they would saw a plague of blood, there wouldn't have been any more Israelites, wouldn't have been any more Pharaohites.
That's right.
If first time that they seen all of the blood, the waters turn into blood, it would have scared the fool out of every last one of them.
That's right.
That's right.
And they would not have been there. They would have been afraid to drink water thereafter. Those things are to be understood. They are to be known. So we thank the messenger for making known to us these facts that has been written by other people. And today we jump up and shout and think that God was leading Moses and the children of Israel through a sea of water. We think that when he was called to the burning bush, that we see Moses going to talk to a burning bush where he heard a voice from. But the bush, the Quran gives it plainer than what the Bible does. In one manner, it says the bush was not on fire. The Bible called it a burning bush, right? And Moses walks up to the bush, and there he talks with God. But he didn't see him. When he saw the bush was not on fire. What meaning is that? The messenger said to me in talking the history of Moses, he says, brother, when Moses seen the bush on fire and God talking to him, he says, Master Farad, the God in person, told me that he was so angry with the devils that he could burn them up the same way as you see this bush burning. You get it?
Yes, sir.
He was so angry with the devils, he could set them afire like you see this bush, Moses. So you go to your people and warn them.
That's right.
As the Quran says, there is not a nation of people that has not been warned. A warner has not came among them, not a people. So we was the last people to be warned of the angriness of God.
That's right.
We was the last one. Now, being the last people warned, we got so many of these people out in the streets leading people, thinking that they are the Almighty God themselves.
Right.
And believing that plenty of these leaders was sent direct from God, from Allah. Now, if Allah had sent one warning, as the book says, remember now, he only sent one warning at a time.
That's right.
To each nation. Now, if that is the truth, which we take it for the truth from the Quran, if that is it, then where did these others come from? Who sent them?
Yes, sir.
They are just barefooted with the truth, that's all. He don't send but one. If he sent one every 2,000 years, then there is one that will continue it, one at a time, because the peoples don't live for 2,000 years, not on this planet.
That's right.
That's right.
So one will take up after the other, until the 2,000 years expires. Then another one will come. He will be one of the warners sent from God. Now, if this be the last of the warners to come to the people, all the rest has had a warner but us. Now, if he's the last one to come to us, then the judgment have to come before the 2,000 years expires. Am I going too far with you? Before the 2,000 years expires, then one will come after that one. And he will be one with just a few people. Well, how do you know? All right, let's read the Quran then. Let's see what he says. In the Holy Quran by Muhammad Ali, and it's also in Yusuf, his Quran, might read just a little bit different in Yusuf Ali. But they don't vary too much, because both men work together.
That's right.
Muhammad and Yusuf in the translation of the Qurans. Even to the glorious Quran, who gives credit to a Muslim that is a Caucasian, I believe, by his name. That's Pikhar. That's a European name. And he worked with them. They didn't care, just so that we get the truth translated from the Qurans. Now, the Quran is a book that has much to understand, because the man that received it was an unlearned man, right?
Right, that's right.
So an unlearned man, when he's talking, he gives much history, because he can't speak directly as the one that says he's learned.
Right.
And we don't find in Bible or Quran where that men come about. And they was luring men that God sent. Why did he send men without knowledge to a people to warn them? If he sent men with knowledge, then God got trouble on his hand, because that one got knowledge going to go and do what he thinks is right to do, right?
That's right.
He ain't going to do just like God wanted him to do, because he's got knowledge of that government, knowledge of that country or whatnot. He just ain't going to do it right. So he gets a man without that knowledge and sends him. So he can't do nothing but just do what he say do.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
A dumb man ain't going to do nothing but just what you say. He don't know nothing else. But when a man come up and he say, I'm wise, I can do this and I can do that, God sent me. Well, you see, he says these things, but it's so and so and so. He got trouble on his hand then. You will find that in the history of the scriptures. Now, I said a few. In chapter 8 of the Quran by Muhammad Ali, chapter 8, section 6, verse 45. We begin that. 45 and 46 teach us firmness and union, enduring their strength, enjoying their strength. 48 and 47 reads concerning enemies made a show of their strength. The 45th verse reads, now before saying that, the title in section 6 at chapter 8 shows us or tells us success did not depend on numbers. Success does not depend upon a great number of people on numbers. So it is a success with the few. When we look into the history, all you who believe, when you meet a party, then be firm and remember Allah much, that you may be successful, and obey Allah and His apostle, and do not quarrel.
That's right.
For then you will be weak in hearts, and your power will depart.
That's right.
That's right.
And be patient. Surely Allah is with the patient. And be not like those who came forth from their homes in great exaltations, and be seen of men, and who turns away from the way of Allah. And Allah comprehends what they do. And when the devil made their works fair seen to them, and said, no one can overcome you this day, and surely I am your protector. But when the two parties came in sight, each of each other, he turned upon his heels and said, surely I am clear of you. Surely I see what you do not see. Surely I fear Allah, and Allah is severe in requiting evil. That is telling us there of the number. Now when they saw the devil, he was the one that first to see God coming to just a few, because he had charged a few with the idea that he was the man to lead them, but they did not partake into him. So when you read that, you will find it in that part of the Quran. Now at 10:13, the footnote, it reads, in the previous verses, it is stated that the enemy was shown to the prophet in a dream to be few. And here we are told that they were also shown to be few to the Muslims. When the two armies met, the second point had been fully explained in footnote 395 as regarding the prophet seeing them few in a vision. It's most no doubt be interpreted, must no doubt be interpreted as signifying their moral weakness, notwithstanding their great number. The moral weakness of their great number. That was of them that was weak, was the great number, but the few was strong. That's what he's saying to you. The few is strong and the others is weak. All right, we see a lot of the weak today among big numbers of people.
That's right.
They will take their followers and do things of weakness against their followers' self, not seeing what the people actually need, but what they wanted to do, and they have done so. So the success does not go to a whole lot of people just because you see them. The success goes to mostly the few. Now, where he says that what he's seen again, they was talking about two armies meeting. And the two armies, the one that the few saw, that was 1,000 people. And they only numbered 300. They was not afraid because they was fearless men to fight that war. And when they looked and seen them, they saw only 600, only 600, which was 3 times 10,000, 1,000 was 3 times their number and some. But to the fearless, he didn't see but 600. That meaning by the number 300, only 2 to the man, when it was almost 4 to the man.
Yes, sir.
They wasn't afraid to fight that battle. So that is with you and me. Allah will give to us so much power against the enemy that we look and see a whole gang of them coming down the street or someplace. So there goes 1,000 men coming to fight us. We only got 5 or 6 here. That's all right. Nobody's running. Nobody's turning on their heels.
That's right.
Like the devil turned on his heels. They're mentioned just now. Nobody is turning back.
That's right.
Like they did back in the 30s when the assistant captain turned on his heels and ran while the others was fighting the battle down in 1300 Beaubien Street. They turned and ran. But there was just a few that stood there and fought. And they conquered with the police there around the jail. They was the winner. And they give in. They said that the Muslim win the fight. They give in. Well, the same thing can happen today. But we don't look for the fight in the body. We don't look for that. So that tells us a lot of what we have come through with. Now what about the messenger in his talking to us in such a manner and then after his death? In one part of the Bible says that the devil and God disputed about Moses' body. You'll find that in the book of Jude 1 and 9. Jude, J-U-D-E, Jude 1 and 9, that the devil and God was disputing about Moses' body. There was very little disputing, and what they was disputing about his body, they didn't write it. And today is the same thing about this Moses body.
That's right. Listen, it's true.
The devil and God disputes about his body today.
That's right.
So God knew about Moses' body, but the devil did not. He wanted to claim the body of Moses. So, brothers and sisters, today, being here with you, I'm very happy and glad that Messenger Elijah Muhammad took up a daredevil's chance, I would say, in order to prove to us the great truth that was given to us by the seen one, the God that can be seen, can be heard everywhere. We know and we understand about all of the teachings that was given to us by Master Farad Muhammad. We understand it, and we know that it is to be continued and never to stop.
That's right.
So we should do all that we possibly can in keeping this teaching going. If we don't, we are at a great failure of obeying God.
That's right.
There is many people today looking for the resurrections of all of those prophets and looking for them to come back. But they won't. None of them will return from the dead. If they were to return from the dead, we would see a sign left of them somewhere among the living. But we don't see it because we even forget about the dead.
That's right.
When one of our family dies, we forget about them. Well, later you say, well, I don't know. You know, I can hardly remember my brother, my sister, how they looked at that time, because the dead never is known to return from the grave. And we say that they do. Bible and Quran both teach us that they'll come back. But at the coming of Master Farad Muhammad, he said no, they will not return. And he made it very clear to us that when we are dead, that is the end of all of our life, because there's nothing left that will live any more. You know, that's a thing that we can't even hardly dream about. Ask the people, said, did you ever dream about you rising from the dead? You can dream about you being dead. But did you ever dream of being resurrected from the dead? You don't see that. You can't find a person that even dreams that part, because that is falsehood.
That's right.
That's right. That's the truth. Now suppose we did see them coming from a physical death. It wouldn't benefit us no good at all. it will be actually a thing that nobody could even tell because they wouldn't stay there long enough to talk with them.
That's right. That's true.
Well, the knowledge. Now, we know that the knowledge of Islam has been hidden for thousands of years from us, from the wisest of men. Now, according to the footnote of Muhammad, and it's also found in Yusuf, we find that this doctrine, let us see where is that verse at that he's talking about. That just a second. The numbers here is very small, and I don't want to overlook one. No, that is continued. A new generation will be raised up, will be raised, a new generation. Now, a lot of our people think that the generation is like the children there.
Right.
One born this year and all that's born in this year is a generation. All that is born in next year is a generation. No, it takes 40 years to make a generation. So in it, we find that at section 3 in chapter 35, verse 15, it tells us, O men, you are they who stand in need of Allah, and Allah is He who is the self-sufficient, the praised one. Now he's talking direct to the so-called Negro, saying, O men, you are they who stand in need of Allah, and Allah is He who is the sufficient, self-sufficient, the praised one. That is a direct word to us, just like it was direct to the Arabs in Muhammad's time.
That's right.
They stood in need. But now they one time had a knowledge of their nation of people, but we was so blind, deaf and dumb, we had no knowledge of our people and God. We had no knowledge of it. But they one time had the knowledge of Allah being God. They never lost that word of Allah being God. But we did. And we fell to believe in the knowledge that the devil gave us of Christianity, that Jesus and his Father was God. That's what we fell into, and never known then the real facts of God, neither of self. So this gives us that hint. And this, according to his footnote here, he says, this also a prophecy relating to the eventual helpless state of the unbelievers and their leaders. This broad, continued to 2055, this broad teaching or doctrine that a prophet was raised among every nation is taught repeatedly in the Quran. And curiously enough, it is met with in the early revelations of Mecca, as well as the later revelation in Medina. This great truth, which has remained hidden for thousands of years. You remember the messenger, how he taught, he says, this truth was hidden from the wisest of the scientists for thousands of years, and now we got it. You remember how he taught that? All right. This where he was talking at. He was saying, with this scientist of translating the book, telling you how it had been hidden. He says, this great truth, which has remained hidden for thousands of years from the wisest men of the world. Now that is showing us there, if it has been hidden for thousands of years from the wisest men, then it is not a baby religion, right?
That's right.
That is showing to us that Islam had been here a long time ago, but we didn't know it. So it was hidden from the wise men.
Right.
And he says, had shone upon an unlearned Arabian who could not have even known what nation then exists and what scripture they possess. This broad doctrine alone could form the basics of the university of a divine message to the whole of mankind. Only he who had the breath of mind to recognize truth in all could unite all men in one religion and make them pay homage to one holy book. No, if that in his word saying there, to an Arabian that it was revealed to, it had to be to one, to be a sign of the last one. Messenger Elijah Muhammad was more dumber, excuse the way he's saying it, but he was more dumber than what Muhammad was 1,400 years ago. Because he couldn't even speak the language, and he had never heard about it. He knew nothing about the Arabic language. Nothing. But Muhammad could speak it. So Muhammad had just about 1 degree wiser than Messenger Elijah Muhammad. Now it comes to this poor dumb man of the aboriginal people. God has given him enough knowledge now to teach it, to preach it to you and me. Being a unlearned man, he brought to us the learnedness of God, the knowledge of God. He brought it to us. The wise men didn't get a hold of it for thousands of years. And who was the first one to get it? The dumb man. So he kept the wise man away from it, because if you get a hold of it, you gonna mess it all up. So I give it to a dumb man. So he gave it to Muhammad, and Muhammad was a sign of the last Muhammad. Did you ever read where the messenger said that? He says it, that Muhammad 1400 years ago was only a sign, the same as Jesus was a sign. And both of them was a sign of him. He said to me in teaching me, he says, brother, he says, all of that you read about what Jesus said, he says, that was me talking. He says, you just have to know the meanings. He said to me, he says, I teach you the meanings as we go. And he did. He taught me a long ways up on it. But when he got so that he couldn't hardly bear to teach, then that stopped it. I guess that was to be the end of it with me, in teaching me alone where other men did not hear. When you want to teach a person something to teach others, don't let nobody hear it. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Because if more hear it, the worse it will be when you hear it again.
That's right.
But if you got one, then that one got to carry what you say. If he don't, then you get that one. You ain't got a whole lot to deal with. That's why God won't choose a whole gang of men to carry the truth. Because one's going to want to take it his way, the other's going to take it his way. And when it comes out, God won't know what he said. What I'm saying to you, I'm just trying to let you know that the wisest men was dumb men. Like Jesus said that, or one of the prophets, one in the Bible, I can't say Jesus said it, but one of them said that it will make wise men walk backwards. This knowledge would, and that is a fact. The knowledge that the messenger taught us, wise men could not do nothing with it. And the way that Master Farad taught us, he didn't talk about 15 or 20 years. He always talked about thousands of years. He didn't stand before us and say just 15 or 20 years. He didn't even want to hear us to talk about our birthday. Because when we died 10 years old, 15 years old, little old baby there when we would die. But he taught us that if you forget about it, and then when you do remember your birthday, you'll probably be older than what you think you are by trying to keep up with it every year. This year I'm 25, next year 26. One said, oh, you just a baby. Well, this year I was 80. Next year I'll be 81. And many times you see people like that and didn't keep up with it, they don't look that age because he didn't keep up with it. Every day he's thinking about his age will turn your complex a different way, and you look like a person real old when you are not. 80 years old is not an old person. That's just a little baby. At least that's what he said to Abraham when he went to him. Abraham was 90, and that's when he was chosen at the age of 90 years old to be a prophet. He thought he was too old, and his wife thought she was too old. She laughed at the words when they said that she will bring forth another son. She stood there and laughed at it. because she thought that she was completely dead. He thought he was completely dead. No, you're looking at your age. You ain't looking at nothing else. So that is a lot that keep us hidden in a background of self. Hidden from the wisest of men. The wisest men for 2,000 years. Now, the 2,000 years with us was when Moses went into, no, when Jesus came, excuse me. Jesus was 2,000. Moses was 4,000 years ago. Now when the knowledge came for thousands of years that has been hidden from us, when that knowledge came, nobody knew it. What knowledge are you talking about, John? I'm speaking the knowledge that Master Farad brought to us, who God is, who the devil is, how long they've been on the planet, and other nations of people, how they come about. That was thousands of years ago. And those scientists had no knowledge of it. And it was given to the last of them all, to us. We got the knowledge of how long it has been since these scientists with this doctoring has been before the people. We have that knowledge that they don't have about Moses, Yaqub, and Jesus. That's why they're all time fighting at you. All time wanting to say that you're telling the falsehood. Because they don't have that knowledge that you have. That's why you have the supreme wisdom. You knows everything that they did not know. It is supreme knowledge. When you go back more than 6,000 years ago, that's a long, long ways. Or if you go back just 6,000, you don't have to go that far back. Just 5,000, just 4,000 years, the people don't have no knowledge. Because the book, the Bible which is written, it goes back only 6,000 years. And with its 6,000 years, the white man could not do too much with the Old Testament because they didn't have any knowledge of those people back at that time. They had to bring it forth like it was written. But when they got... But when they got to Jesus, that's why they hit you in the head. That's just why they tore you up at then, because they changed it altogether different from his story. So we got the real wisdom, the supreme knowledge from God himself. He brought it. And that made us to know that today we are supreme in knowledge of what was brought to us by Master Farad, God in person. You know, when it is mentioned around some people that I'm the supreme minister, they think that I mean the supreme being. Some of them thinks that. Brother told me that the man argued with him on it. No, not me being the supreme being. I'm not that. I'm just a supreme minister who has the supreme wisdom given by Master Farad Muhammad, and I don't have all of that. But I have more than the others.
That's right.
You know, we could be made the most wisest people that has ever been on the earth if we would take it.
That's right.
If we would take the knowledge that was given to us by Master Farad Muhammad and the Messenger, we could study it daily, nightly, and when we speak and open our mouth, nobody could move a peg.
That's right.
Because they won't have that knowledge that you have. Now that knowledge, it has been opened up to the world, and the world can't see it. Only those who believe can see it. Only those who believe. I don't mean a believer that disputes. That's not a believer that will stand and dispute from one to the other and then get angry and thinks that he knows everything. That kind of a disputing, Allah will take away your light. He will take it away from you in such a manner that you will never again understand the scriptures. Think nobody for thousands of years understood the grafting of white people.
That's right.
You couldn't read it in a book where the white people was grafted from black. You couldn't read it. Although now it was there, but you didn't see it. You couldn't make known of it because it was not written in there for you and I, or for the other people who had the book before we got it, to know what it means. If they had understood the grafting of the devils from us, they would have put it in some form so that he could teach his own people. But look how many crazy preachers that's in the white race.
Right.
Believing in Christianity.
That's right.
So Muhammad gave to them the 33 degree of masonry so that they would learn of themselves.
Right.
And when they learned of themselves, he didn't give them the knowledge of grafting. Muhammad didn't know it. It was revealed to him according to this book. And it was there. But Muhammad had no knowledge of it. If so, you don't find where Muhammad told his followers nowhere that the caveman was a grafted man. In his words. But it's there in the cave in the book.
That's right.
In the book of the cave, where the devil went out. One went up to the store and he told him, if they asked you how long have you sleep? Have you been asleep when you go to town? He gonna see everything there that's different from what it was when that he had been in the cave so long. Before he left the Holy Land. He gonna see now everything different. All right, now Muhammad didn't teach that. He didn't teach his followers such a things like that. He didn't understand that part. It was not for him. What if he had taught the Arabs that they was grafted people from us?
Yes, sir.
If he had taught them that they was grafted from us, they wouldn't be against you like you are.
That's right.
Especially these un-Americans.
Right.
because he's a grafted man too. All of the people that say that they are such a wise people in their doctrine is people that desires to be seen and heard and think they know and don't know. That's the only man that makes himself a real fool, is one who thinks he knows and don't know.
That's right.
That's a real fool. When you meet people living in a state of knowledge and then cannot produce a knowledge of the other one, and he says he knows, why, he's just a fool. So that's very much for us to understand in this day and time, because we're at the end of the rope. People don't believe that.
That's right.
It will be so in America. You will meet people probably down the street, gnawing on the bone of his arm, according to prophecy, eating their own flesh, cooking and frying their babies. That is prophesied for America.
That's right.
And the prophecy is in it about for black people more than white people. We are the one that will suffer starvation more than any of the other people if we does not try to accumulate something for self. If we don't hurry fast and do the things for self that we should do, our children will be in the worst state that any person can be in. Last night again, I watched a little of Feed My People again. Did you see it? On channel 52, I understood it to say 52. I couldn't see the number because they were so small and there wasn't no the light from the screen blind my eyes. I couldn't see it. But the channel is 52. It comes on every Saturday. 8 o'clock, something like that. I don't know what time it was last night. And I don't know what time it was before, but it's in the evening time. And it says, "Feed my people." Brother and sisters, I said before, that's the worst picture I have ever seen of our people in the state that they are in. People dying for the wants of food, men and women, girls and boys, and babies dying. I saw one there yesterday where a woman was nursing a baby. And I declare, brothers and sisters, her breast had hung so far down, and what that baby was pulling on, I can't see what he was getting out of there. said, Lord have mercy. Poor baby trying to get milk, and the woman is almost dead. Yeah, you could see the bones, the ribs, almost dead. Laying there, the children laying there, and the flies all around them. He's too weak to fan the fly away. Now, who is asking for the money is the devil.
That's right.
Not asking the government for it, asking the people
Right.
for it. Now, this was seen by the prophets. This was seen by them. By seeing them destroying their own children and eating them is in this day. That happened thousands of years ago, but they saw it. I go back to again where I said about the black horse that this man made mention of, and its rider had a pair of balances in his hand, and the word was saying, a measure of wheat for a penny and a measure of barley for a penny. We eat them both. Now, that was seen by the prophet John in the Revelation. He was called John the Vine. That was seen by him, and he was riding a black horse. He was following the pale horse, who his rider was named Death.
Yes, sir.
But the rider behind him was called And Hell Follows. Meaning you and me.
That's right.
In a hell of a state of condition. And we are following a pale horse.
That's right.
Following a white man in a country of plenty. But we are in starvation. All we want to do is give us justice. Give us justice so that we can get some food for ourselves. Because we would give a penny for a measure of wheat. We will give it. But where am I going to get the penny from? Where is those people getting a penny from? No. It is too light to even to balance the wheat and the barley. You can't balance it. The people haven't got water. They haven't got anything. That's in East Africa. They haven't got nothing. Brother and sister. In a country like this, Master Farad Muhammad said, all of a sudden, it will fall on this country like a bottom falling out of a bucket full of water. All at once it will do it. And that is coming.
Yes, sir.
The Holy Quran tells us, when you see and hear the noise over there, you say it's coming over here.
That's right.
And it's coming. Master Farad told us it. He told us about the condition of people living today, and it will become a revolution, fighting all over this country. People will be fighting. He said it will last us for about 90 days. That's why he always said to us, when you eat one can of food, say you save one. He said it. He said it like this: when you go to the store and you want some canned food. If you buy one, buy two. You eat one and save the other. Now, you can't save a canned food too long, which he didn't say get it in the can in glass. You can keep it for longer, but it will soon dry out after a certain time. But the way he told us how to do it, he says the way you do this is like you buy 2 cans this week, or maybe more. He says always get the fresh can and set it down and eat the old can from last week. So that way your food will stay fresh on the shelf all the time. And that's true.
That's right.
Now, people in Mansfield, when I went there in 71, they had in 70, I think it was, yeah. When I went there in 1970, they had bags of beans that they were saving for the time that this would come in. And I told them, I said, no, don't get your beans dried like that, saving them. Not as yet. When the time comes, then you can buy as much as you want. But the messenger said that we wouldn't have to save nothing like that when he bought the farm, but the farms got away from us. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Now, he says, they told me, the sisters told me, and some of the brothers said how much beans they had. They were buying them in 25-pound bags and setting them up. And one of the brothers just had garbage cans, had filled up garbage cans sitting under his stair step in his house. These people had all those beans there when I got there. And I told them, I said, if you can eat them now, go ahead and eat them. And then buy just a little bit and keep it going like you would have 2 pounds here today. Then you can put that down and eat the one that you had yesterday. And that way your beans will always be kind of fresh like. And one of the sisters, she cooked some, what she had, and they couldn't hardly eat them. They did never get soft enough. Couldn't hardly eat those beans. I told her, I said, sister, you could plant those now, and they'll bring up you some string beans. So they thought that's what it was. And the brother I had for assistant minister there, he had bought coal oil, kerosene, and had it sitting around there in his house. I told him, I said, no, brother, don't have that stuff sitting around here. I said, it's slow burning, but it's explosive. It's tightened up there in a can, and if the fire ever get to it, it'll blow this little jack all away from here. And I don't know if we'll be in it or not. I said, I hope I don't be in it. So he got rid of it. At winter time, he would burn a lot of his coal oil up until he got rid of it. I said, if you want to save that kind of stuff, I said, you have to put it someplace that you can keep it so that fire don't get to it, because the spark can get in kerosene and start it off. So I'm letting you know that the day of trouble is now in our midst. If we don't consider what Messenger Elijah Muhammad said now, we must understand that we are headed for the fire.
That's right.
Because the people of these others, I don't hear them talking the talk of the messenger, how to eat the food later and eat some today and save, eat that yesterday and save what that you got today. You can save a lot by freezing it. You can save a lot. You can save bread by freezing it after it's cooked. Don't try to freeze it before it's cooked, because you might mess up. Your bread might not be any good because water going to get in it when you freeze. So our day is here. Now, what is in my mind is to try to have a spot of ground somewhere so that we could have 2 or 3 rows of green beans, 2 or 3 rows of white potatoes, 2 or 3 rows of corn, 2 or 3 rows of cabbages, 2 or 3 rows of other stuff that we eat, of vegetables. And if we had that, we could can it in glass jars, and it will last us the winter through. As we use it, we can can others. That's what he was talking about. This brother Earl Bachar, Earl Bachar down in Georgia, the messenger showed him how to can food. And he was to send me some just before he got killed. He was to send me some of his canning. He told me, he said, I'm going to mail you some canned goods of bean pie. How to make, he said, it'll be all fixed up. All you got to do when you get it, just use it. He said, because we'll have plenty of it. And I told him, all right. Now, when I went to Atlanta, I would have seen him, which would have been about 2 weeks before he was killed. I would have seen him, but the people that taken me down to Cordele, where I was born at in Georgia, they couldn't spend the night. And I had no way then to get to this man, because he was just about 75 or 80 miles from me, and I had no way to get to him. But I was on my way to see him. What made me want to see Brother Earl, I don't know. But when I got back home, 2 weeks, I was called and told what had happened to him. He had been shot 4 times in the head, and they cut his throat after he was shot. And he was a very good man, very good man. He loved the messenger. He loved the messenger. I have seen him give the messenger $50 bills time after time. I have seen that did by him. And the messenger loved Earl, and Earl loved the messenger. And so he went down to Brownsville, Georgia, right there at Albany. And that's where his visitor came in his motorhome. Now our people, many of them can't stand you to see you do good.
Right. That's right.
What if they don't want to kill you? Many of them is like that. And that's what makes it few. Because when they do these things, other people say, oh, I don't want to have nothing to do with it now. And that is a very, very bad thing. What if we had here in this place for us, which we were starting to have? Let me tell you this part, because I'm never about finished anyway. We start here trying to have us 2 acres, I think it was. And we would have had it. But the devil rises up. And we don't have it. We might can get it again. Which I hope. But the devil rises up. We had a lot of brothers in the fruit. Lots according to what I would say now. Enough to do the job. And they were too lazy, some of them, to do. And the brother that know how to do it, he left too.
That's right.
Now that's the sin. For people to be in such a state just because that they get $2 or $3 from Social Security and retirement, that's a sin. Our people, many of them is in bad state. We have Muhammad Speaks continue. And we need for those papers to be sold or given to the people for a donation of $1 so that we can continue. Brother and sister, let me tell you, if there be another one to warn the people and knows it like I knows it, I don't see him. I don't see him coming. Because plenty of the people that say they are ministers and whatnot did not get what I got.
That's right.
For one reason. They would have messed it all up just like they're messing up now.
That's right.
As I left out of the room where the messenger was one day, he said to me afterward, he said, why did you go out? I said, well, you was talking to your minister there. He was talking to Minister Malcolm X at that time. They were sitting to the table. And he told me, he says, listen, brother, don't never go out unless I tell you. He says, these men don't know what you know. He says, you was taught and being taught by me, the last one, and you was taught by Master Farad. Said they don't know what you know. And what I was telling him, you know it. So don't ever walk out just because I'm talking to somebody and you think it's private. Yeah, that's what he told me. He burned me up pretty well. I didn't never walk out on him no more. He's talking to somebody about Islam. So that is a thing we should consider. We should consider these things in coming together. All people that is black, they had better come under some sorts of way of uniting themselves together and be a nation of people. They better do so.
That's right.
If they don't, remember that rider in the front his name was death. And hell followed him. And that one was a black horse.
That's right.
Everywhere the black horse go, hell was there. Hell followed him. The other two horses that came out, one was red and one was white. What did they have? Death had a reap hook.
That's right.
Black horse, he had a pair of balances. Nothing that was that he could murder a person with. He's asking for justice. The white horse, he had a sword when he come out. The rider on the red horse, he had a sword when he come out. And the reading said that these two went to conquer and to conquer. But they didn't catch the pale horse. They all, the messenger told me, he said, brother, all of them was after the pale horse. That's the one they was following. That's the one they wanted to kill. Except this one that didn't have a weapon. He just had a pair of balance. He was following him, asking for justice. Just give me justice. Don't you hear it today?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's what he was saying. You can't get justice on a scale better than you can on a pair of balances. And that's what he was asking for. Justice. Our people won't come, and let me warn them or tell them. They won't come. I hope they come with our papers out in the streets. I hope they do. Because according to one of the problems and its figures, which that I solved in 1935, given to us by Master Farad Muhammad, you are very, very near to it. Very, very near.
That's right.
And it tells us in the last, about to the last, the lesson number 2, asking a question. And the messenger told me, he says these questions and answers only mean time. That the devil will soon be off our planet. Where it says of how long has the devil been on our planet? Using technology, what we read the other Sunday? 6,000 years, and he went right on down to even to the minutes. After that, then what would happen? He says the 11 would come and eat up 1, and that's in the history that Master Farad gave, which is called the 6,000-year history, but it's actually the 15,000-year history. After Messenger Elijah Muhammad, you don't see another one rising up with power. Not another one. All right, now they ask for power. These other people ask for power. Leaders ask for power. But who do they seek? They seek it from the devil.
That's right.
And the devil will never give you power over him.
That's right.
I wouldn't give him power over me.
Right.
No. Because he is the devil and I am the God's. When you talk that way before a lot of people, they think that you actually mean that you is the supreme being when you tell them that you is God. But that doesn't mean that you the supreme being. It's only telling you that I am a black man belonging to the black nation, and the black nation is the God, and Allah is the God in the black nation, and nobody can condemn that.
That's right.
How can you or me say I'm supreme over the earth? We can't say that because we have not been prophesied as one person coming out being the ruler. One person. It takes all of us to be the ruler.
Right.
And then in our nation shall appear that God, who is the supreme being, to be the ruler over us. He appears out of there once every 25,000 years. A prophet comes out every 2,000 years. In prophecy, we don't say that this is the last prophet, but it's the last one to us. A nation, regardless to who they are, they only get one time. When Jesus came, he came to the Jews. He was the prophet to save them. He come to the Jews. The Jews haven't got another one since. They look for Elijah to come. And Elijah will never go to the Jews. They asked him and told him, said, we know who you are. We know that you are the one to come. And they asked him, would he come to them? They said, the table is all set. Your seat is ready. But Elijah said, no, I was not sent to you. I was sent to my people, the black people. Talking to the Jews that want him to come and be with them. So my dear beloved brother and sister, it's a long, long story to be told. This place should be filled up all the time.
That's right.
Every time I'm here, and I will give you farther and farther. Did not you know that it almost gave you a heart trouble?
That's right.
To have a message for people, and they won't show up. That's right. It almost gave you heart trouble. Last night, I couldn't have rest. Last night, after 2 o'clock, I couldn't have rest for one reason. Looking at the conditions that we are in. Looking at how others want to be in a high state. And here one that not wants that, but wants you to be in the high state. Because I feel this way. If you was lift up high, you would reach down and lift me up.
That's right.
And if I had enough people to lift me up, I'll draw all black men into Islam. I won't say it to me. I will draw them all into Islam with the help of God. To see people looking at death and don't know it, that's awful. looking at death and don't even know it. Well, that's the way our people is in America today. The fire that has been prepared for the devil and his angels will soon be falling on our people if they don't watch it. The story of Job says that his elder brothers had a feast, and only one escaped.
That's right.
And when he came to Job, he says, Job, behold, the fire of God is falling, and I just only am an escaper alone to tell thee.
Right.
So your brothers was having a feast in your elder brother's house, and his wind came by and smote the four corners of the house. And now, Job, all of your brothers is dead. That's when Job then rent his garments and fell down to the earth and said, naked came I into the world, and naked shall I return. After all my appointed times, yet will I wait till my change come. Job also said, he said, in my flesh shall I see God, not in spirit. And before he died, he says, I have heard of thee, and now I seest thee. He says that he had seen God in the flesh. Poor man Job, which is a token of you and me.
That's right.
You and me, poor people, having nothing. But we have seen God in our flesh. We have seen him. Job said, after all my appointed time will I wait till my change come. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. That happened. That will happen with us. Just like Job lost everything he had. He became so poor. He had nothing. Just like people used to say for a slang word, I'm poor as Job's turkey. So he was a very poor fellow.
That's right.
So it is today. We will walk around with money and look at it all up and down the street. Wind blowing it. It will be like the Franks or something other they had in World War I. They was no good after the war. A man that was captain of our fruit in 1933, a portion of it, 32, portion of it, name was Azad Muhammad. He was in World War I, and he had over $1 million in that money. He told me, he says, Brother John, he says, just as soon as I cash these in, he says, we're going to have a nice, beautiful temple. I says, Brother Captain, that money is dead. You can't use it. He said, oh yes, they told me I could. I said, all right, go ahead and cash it. And he couldn't cash none of it. They told him it is dead. The same thing is marching on America money.
That's right.
Right.
People will have it probably in other countries, want to cash it in. Can't do it. That money is dead.
Right.
Look at how it is today, even with gold. Don't you go to the bank with a lot of gold if you got it. If you do, they're going to want to know where did you get it from, and they're just liking to lock you up.
That's right.
Right now. Tell that brother to wake up. You better wake up. You might have some gold at home. Did you hear what I said?
Yes, sir.
What did I say?
Better wake up and have some gold now.
Well, he was asleep, wasn't he? See, he missed that other part. Okay. If you got any gold, be careful with it. So that's it among our people today. Thinking that we're going to have a good time and shout hallelujah. Where? Not in America. America is the first on the list to be burned up. As I repeat what I have said before, Master Farad taught us that all of the holy war which shall be in this time will start in the eastern world. He said, there will be famine and hunger throughout the east. And look where it got with our people in Eastern Africa. Can't get a loaf of bread. This devil says over the air yesterday, he says, well, he said it before, he said the same thing in begging for the money. He says that $30 will feed a family for 30 days. He says, send $30, he says. All right, now here we is, here, ain't got $30 to send to help our people there, as he said, feed our people. At least, you know, I'm talking about us poor people, you know. I ain't talking about the man with a lot of money. We who have families to take care of and carry food to them and whatnot. We who don't have a job to feed our families. That's what I'm saying. Little children like these here, just like you see them sleeping there, is the same way that I could see them on the TV as they would show it to us. And they were so small, you could just see their ribs all. You can see it next Saturday and sometime. Just keep turning it, you know, till you get to 52 or 62 one. And you see it in the evening, around about 8, start 7, you know, watch it, start at 7 o'clock and go up to 9. I don't know exactly what time, because I'll be reading a lot of time or doing something else. Then when I catches it, then there it is. So, children, as I say, like them, their arms and their legs is like this. Ain't nothing there but bone.
That's right.
Bone, little skin to cover it. And they're just laying there. Men the same way. Don't look like a person could get that small and live. But the doctor says their heart kept beating, the pump of live blood as they try to feed the people there. They have a measuring cup that they pour the food into a bag or something, give to them. Nothing hardly to do with. They still dying there in East Africa now. People are still dying. So what will happen in this America, as the messenger when we was talking about Jerusalem being destroyed? And he told me, he says, can you sit America in Jerusalem? I said, no. We're talking on mathematics now. I said, no, because Jerusalem ain't big enough to fit America into it. He said, but you can set Jerusalem in America. I said, yeah. He said, the book tells us that when Jerusalem is compared to armies, know that the time is near. I said, yes, sir. He said, well, what is happening? I said, Jerusalem is compassed with armies. He said, the prophet said it was near, right? I said, yes, sir. He said, but nobody knows when the end is coming. He said that too. He says, nobody knows when the end is coming. Not even the angels in heaven, brother, would know that day. I said, that's what the book says. He said, well, it's right. God don't tell nobody on the day that he is coming, right on that day. But when that day comes, he tells you, all right, let's go. This is the day. And then the thing happens. Read the history for it. In the Bible of destructions that God put on people. When he sent Abraham, Lot's uncle, to warn them to get out of the city, he was going to destroy it. He didn't tell them exactly what day it was going to be.
That's right.
Not until the time comes. Then after Lot couldn't find no righteous people, he said, take your wife and your 2 daughters here and get out of town, because today God is going to rain down fire and brimstone.
That's right.
Lot didn't know it until that day. Noah did not know it until that day when the flood was coming. The only thing that he did was to warn the people and preach to them and says, God going to rain, better get in line. But what day was it going to rain on? Noah didn't know. He says it's going to rain.
That's right.
And when the time came for it, when he had got through building the ark and the people got inside of it, time for the people all to be locked up inside of the ark, Noah sent Jotham. Say, you go look over towards the Mediterranean and see what you see. He went 2 or 3 times, come back, he said, I don't see nothing. He said, make 7 trips back and forward. The last time he made his trip, on the 7th time, coming and going, trying to see the clouds, since it was nothing but blue skies above. Finally, the last trip, he come back and said, Father Noah, I see a little small cloud hanging over the Mediterranean about the size of a man's hand.
That's right.
Small cloud. He said, get in the ark. It's going to rain. Now listen now clearly. After seeing this cloud, Why did he not say, I just saw a small cloud over the Mediterranean? Why? He said, go look over the Mediterranean. That's water, right?
That's right.
Now he's seen over it a man's hand. A man, right? His hand. What is going to happen? That represent the hand of a man is going to go into battle with these here, because water represents human beings.
That's right.
So the time of judgment is here. This is the day. Bring others and come every Sunday. We don't know what day. We don't know. But I have the belief, and from figures of a year, but what day? I can't find it in the extracting of square root, cube root, or whatnot, even to the sixth power. I can't find that day. But every time I go to prove it, I can find that certain year. And it's time that you and me get together, because if your black president should get high enough votes, you're going to have a hell of a time putting him in office there.
That's right.
I'm telling you facts. I ain't lying to you. I'm telling you facts, brother and sister. If they did not want the truth told to you by the messenger and by Master Farad, how much less does they care about a black man being in office, in the highest office of the land? Why not us have land? Say, all right, Jesse, you want to be president? See how many votes can you win among nothing but black people. Right?
That's right.
That was another one spoke to concerning getting land here in America. They bear witness that we will never get any. They ain't gonna never give you a city. Would you give your ex-slaves a city? So that for 3 or 4 states, so that he could come in on you? Not, he won't do it for these. He give the Indians something, because the Indians is a slave out there on the reservation. Those are slave people. They have to go up to the county store or whatever to get their checks and whatnot and trade there. It's a slave. That's enslaved. They don't have no land. They don't have no flag. And they're considered black with Master Farad. But yet, they are not you. Listen at how it reads in your lesson. How many original Muslims are there in North America? He says approximately 19 million, right? Including 2 million Indians. If we want to include them, we know that they come out from us.
That's right.
Now, if we want to include them into the 17 million, which we numbered at that time when the question was asked, if we want to include them in with us, we can. If we don't, stay there, buddy.
That's right.
Because one time, we exiled you about 16,000 years ago through the straits into America. We exiled you here for breaking the laws of Islam.
Right. That's right.
So that doesn't consider so much because of the Indians. They work here in the factories. Indians work right here in the factory beside some of our people, and they don't even know that's an Indian there because he looks just like a white man, and he got his hair cut and everything, and he has went to school, and he talks like a white man. You don't know. Don't know him. And he don't take up time with you. Don't none of them take up. Look at the little Palestinians, how they all talk about Wallace having his paper, and the Farrakhan and them, and other stuff. Do this for the Palestinians, you know? They don't care nothing about you. Work with him. Work with them like I did. They don't talk to you where white folks see you at in those places. I worked with them, I know. Unless those were some that just didn't like black. That's right. Those were the people that wanted to kill Samson, right?
Right.
Palestinian, the Philistine, as they call them. Those were the same people that wanted to kill Samson. And those are the people that Samson died with. Watch out.
Right.
You'll pull the building down on yourself if you don't be careful.
Right.
Brothers and sisters, my time has arrived. So I thank you. I want to see all of the registered Muslims after dismissed for just a few minutes. There's something I want to tell you. All of those that is followers and has been registered with us, I want to see you just for a few minutes after dismissal. So I bring my talk to a close, thanking you for being so patiently to sit and listen, because on the fourth Saturday I will meet with Evangelist Glass and a couple of more preachers will be here. They want me to talk about the 7 to 8 trillion years. I'll make a break for the platform if there be enough here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there be enough. And I wish that we could have a good, nice little get-together, since they all seems to be like people that wants to come in unity. They all time saying something to us, and they lets us in and whatnot. And why not? That's my talk. Unite together. Why not? If they come, if they hear that, and sit here long enough for me to break down some of it, Saturday, the 4th of June at 4:30. They sit here long enough, they my followers. That's right. You know, that's what, that converts a man into Islam. If you just sit there long enough and listen, it'll convert you. But if you don't never listen, you'll never be converted. Islam can convert a Christian, but a Christian cannot convert a Muslim. That is, if he's a Muslim. When you see him turn back and going back to church, that wasn't no Muslim in the first place.
That's right.
He always was thinking about, when I get back into the church, I want to go to church. And well, so Wallace broke it up like it was. Now he going back to the church. That's right. So I thank you, brothers and sisters. Did you get anything out of what I said?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a question you want to ask me? Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
My name is Bernard Griffin. This is my home, Detroit, and I want to ask the question I've been puzzled about Master Farad Muhammad, where in the reading, in the learning, that he came to Detroit to find the lost tribe of Shabazz. My question is, out of all the places where black people are, this particular place, Detroit, is where he came, and I was just wondering why Detroit out of all the other areas where black, is this something special, or is this only where that particular tribe were?
That's it?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. It is. Detroit is a particular place. Very, very stout. It is known as the Mecca. Unlike the Mecca in Arabia, it is a city that's surrounded by water, a state rather, that is surrounded by water, which means it is surrounded by people. And in this city, Detroit, it was the place where the messenger was living. As he said to the messenger, he said, I knew your address 6 years before you was born. He said, I know your address where to find you at. So it was no puzzle to find the messenger. And he said, if Detroit wakes up, all of the other states and cities will wake up overnight. It's very important that Detroit wakes up. And it was almost to it when the messenger passed. All his son had to do was to just keep it up.
That's right.
And today you'd have been living in paradise.
That's right.
All he had to do was to keep it up. But he didn't do it. He didn't do it. He sold his soul to the devil.
Right.
And we today that knows this of Detroit. Detroit is the worst city on the map.
That's right. That's right.
And it is the most wicked city on the map, so Master Farad said when he was here. He said he came to Detroit on one reason, and that was because Elijah was here. That's what he told us from his mouth. And the messenger was saying, he told that a few times there, and the time that I actually heard him talk about it more was one night at our house. He was there that night. He come by and he sit down and he talked very long that night till about 4 o'clock or 3:31 in the morning. He talked a long time. We all sitting there. It was kind of cold too. We all was sitting there to the old belly heater, you know, them cold stoves. And he relayed very much about the messenger and about us. And he told us that Chicago was Medina. And this was Mecca, he says. And by the other Mecca, that would have to be cleaned up. And we have to make our own heaven. That's why the messenger always says, build your own heaven. Build your own heaven. He is letting you know to build a place here for your heaven on earth. And Allah will soon wipe out the others. Because we don't fight. We ain't got nothing to fight with. What can I do running out there with a hand grenade even against this man's army? And he can stand 5 or 6 miles away from me and shoot poison gas on me.
That's right.
I ain't no way, right?
That's right.
So we don't walk up to fight him because we'll be the loser. So God says this, Master Farad Muhammad, he says, don't you try. He says, your brother will take care of him for you. Now, who is our brother? He says the brother is the black man of Asia, the Aboriginal man, not the Arabs. They are in there with us. But he will give that nation of people and let them die to save you. Just like the book says, that he would give nations for you. Right. And he'll do so too. He's doing so. Look at how they fight. All around us, right? All around us. He ain't letting nobody. Since we've been in America, or since America has been discovered, or you might say, no bombs fell here. Right?
That's right.
But look at the other little small places, other countries where they have fought and dropped bombs on. But none fell here. He says, no, not until that I say so. He says, and can a devil move in hell not unless I permit it to be done? Those are Master Farad's words. I heard them. And that's true. Nothing would be done. Not until the day that he wanted to be done. Now, you might say or think, well, how can we escape it? Right? I talked that with the messenger. I asked him, I says, brother, how would we escape? Or will the whole country even be destroyed? He says, well, brother, says, talking on destructions, we can't go far because that's God's doing. Only one man will fight for war, he says, and that's God. He says, because all the rest of them will be just about dead. So he says to me, he says, remember how he said that they will fight like two old roosters? You ever seen roosters fight and they just fight so until they can't hardly peck the other one on the head. He just walk up. But he hit him all right. But they'd be fighting. Heads would be all bloody. I used to watch the roosters when they would fight like that. My mother's chickens. So he says, then all you got to do is to walk up to him and say, and that's all of it.
Right.
Which means, you know what I'm meaning. I'm meaning this. After they have fought so and killed out each other, then you can whip him then. He's no more. He's too weak to fire his gun. He's too weak. And then I says, yeah, but what if they did and we had saved and don't go anywhere? That's lodges in the mind of a lot of our people. So he says to me, he says, You ever seen it rain on one side of the street and didn't rain on the other side? I said, yes, sir. Well, I did. Coming from work one day, I was working over here, right over here, Ford's plant. It was Briggs where in the part I was working in, and I was on an Oakland streetcar going back home, and it was raining when I come out of the plant. And when I got down about to Hague, I think it was dry over here and wet over here. And all the people on the streetcar began to say, look at that, it ain't raining over there, but look at it, how it is over here. And it was. They had umbrellas over here and over there. Nobody had nothing. It was dry. All right. Now he was showing me that. He telling me that so he could tell me more. He says, now, in seeing such as that, he says, if God is wise enough, or if the scientist is wise enough to produce such deadly weapons and out from it come poison gas, then don't you think that he's wise enough to produce something to keep that gas away from you? Well, that's true.
That's
right. A man don't invent a thing that he can't, save himself with it.
That's right.
And like an automobile, you can go forward, shift your gears in reverse, and go backwards. That's the same what he's telling me. We can be saved if we do the right thing. Otherwise, you'll be on the other side of the street, and the righteous will be over here. And it'll be raining foul with that. And they can't even get to you. They can't even cross the street. Because he says to me, he will put a dividing line in the atmospheres, and that nothing can come on this side and harm you. I hope you understand what I'm saying to you, but don't try to preach it. You might get yourself tied up. That's true. Thank you, brother. You understand now? Yes, sir. Well, that's it. Detroit is a great city if the people wake up. They just wake up, that's all. So I think you bring some more. Maybe they have questions.
One just popped in my mind. I didn't realize this when I was asking you about the mixture of Master Farad Muhammad's mother and his father. His mother, I think I understand, being being white, and his father being original, from what I understand. And then also that the mother being different from the other white people from being in the geographical area where she was found by his father. Could you kind of explain a little bit?
Okay. Well, now I ain't gonna take too much time with it, so I give you signs of it. His father was black. It was a man in the temple the night, well, I heard him speaking more than one time, but this night, he was as black, looked black to us as this thing here. He was real dark. And Master Farad pointed him out and told him to stand up. He stood up. He said, I think you about the blackest one in the building. He says, my father was about your color. That's what he says. Now his mother, that's the one you after. He's not the black one so much. I know where you after. In that manner, because of the people always goes that way. Yes, she was a Caucasian woman. She was a white woman. And he goes and finds her in the hills of Asia, in the mountains. He says he was in I have to make it plainer, so just excuse me here until I make it plainer, because he might tell this to somebody else he don't know. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
So he goes into the hills of Asia, in the mountains. Some say it was a different name they called it, but he said it was the Kashmir mountain where his father went and got his wife. Now those people, they wasn't driven across the desert. They had always been there, and there's some there now, he says. But they don't know that they are devils. He said they don't know that they are Caucasian people. If you see one, he would tell you that he's a black man because he don't know. Now, the reason he goes for this woman, he wanted one to be born to go to the lost world, and he wanted to be the father of that one. So he goes to this mountain where these people was at. All lived there just like the Indians out on reservation. Well, that's their reservation there. They are not to have too much association with the black people in the Holy Land, because they are yet devils. And if they get around the devils, black people, I would say, people who knows exactly who they are. Okay. Now, when he went into the mountain to get, he wanted a son born to go to the lost people. He knew that. He knew that his father knew that a day was coming when his people would be lost. And he would be wise enough to know where to go for his people. Of course, we was here at the time. That hasn't been 400 years ago. That's just been a little better than 100 years ago. So he went there and got this Caucasian woman for wife. And she had the baby. The first one was a girl. And he says, oh, I missed that time. And the next one was Master Farad. Of course, he had others beside him. Master Farad had brothers. He talked with one of his brothers while he was here in the temple. He talked with one of his brothers. Well, so much for that. So here he got him, and he put him through schools and everything so that he would know all books and whatnot. Until when he finished with him, he was able to speak the languages of the birds, and he was able to tune in on civilizations, just like that. Know what a nation of people is thinking, just like that. All of them. He got to that statement. And he says, his father said that, well, he'll go to the lost world looking like his mother. He will have her color and not his, so that he could go among the Caucasian people and they will never recognize him being a black man. And that happened. And he went among them. He said now he can come back to the black people and he can talk with the black people, talk with white folks and tell black people what the white folks is doing and what they're thinking about. Because he'll be right there among them. And that was the cause of him coming like he is, and that is the cause of his father getting a Caucasian woman out of the hills, the mountains, which is called the Cushmere Mountain there. The messenger called it another name too, but I don't remember the other name that he called this mountain. But anyway, that was said in my hearing that it was the Cushmere Mountain. You might find it in a different name in Message to Black Man. So here he came looking that way, but yet the devil recognized him after he had stayed here a while, because his time was up. He was only to stay here 3 years and 6 months. That was his limit. God don't stay with a people long. See, Jesus didn't stay with his disciples no time. His father never visited them. So Master Farad Muhammad had to leave. That's why in all of his lessons you see time. All the time you read about what the messenger is saying, hurry, hurry, hurry. Master Farad was saying, hurry, hurry, hurry. He wasn't talking about the war of Armageddon coming like there and then. It was him. He got to leave. So you hurry and get on to your own kind, because I'm going to leave a messenger with you. That's what he was saying. That's what the messenger told me. But a lot of them didn't know. I didn't know it neither, not until he told me that that's what Master Farad was meaning. His time was up, not our time yet. That's clear enough?
Yes, sir.
For a time that I can go through it all.
Yes, sir.
She was Caucasian, and he told us. Sometime, from time to time, you keep coming, from time to time, I'll hit on it. From time to time, and you get the whole history of it, as far as I know. Yes. Okay. So that settles our questions, I guess. You others can see me every day. You can ask me yours then. Because the time is far spent. And I want to see all of the ones that has registered with us and wants to hear what I got to say. It won't be long. I ain't going to hold it long. I got it all fixed for you and whatnot. Well, I thank you, brothers and sisters. May Allah bless you and grant you a peaceful night's rest and a happy morning rise. And when we get lots of people, I won't hardly stop. All of you be done walked out and be leaving me, and then I'll dismiss. That's the way Master Farad did it. And the messenger did it a lot of times too. I used to stand there and wait and just hurry, saying to myself, I hope he'll hurry and get through. Then when he struck one part of the history there, I said, oh Lord, that's another hour. Yeah. That's all right. I got it. I took punishments on standing on my feet until my hand would swell. Sure. Because we didn't change like we do now. One man take a post. He stood it. That was his post for that night. If it had been 6 o'clock the next morning. Yes, that's right. So may Allah bless you, brothers and sisters, and grant you your wish. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Now, the brother here will dismiss you completely after you give all the money you got. See, we ain't got many, so you have to give all we got, you know. Since we ain't got many people, because the bills is very, very heavy for a few people. Very heavy. To burn lights like these is something else. I wished I could get it so I could have a hanging one and use the other bulbs. These bulbs here cost far more than those smaller ones for lights. That's why it's dark in one place, why I won't put them, all over, because they cost too much. And then try to keep our school going with lights and gas in the winter. So it costs heavy for just a few brothers and sisters. And they are very patient to give to help. So we just have to do that until you go out and bring some more in with you and make your burdens easier. So if you see anybody, and if you're here, come every Sunday. If you don't be here every Sunday, put $1 or $2 in an envelope and send it to the temple that we need it to help pay our bills and for the children to keep from going to public schools, because we don't want our children in public schools to learn how to shoot a pistol, learn how to use dope. We don't want that.
That's right.
Give accordingly. I say assalamu alaikum again.
Alaikum.